Hello, ladies, and welcome to our next edition of Pajamas and Pearls, the magic of unfiltered conversations and pearls of wisdom. So today we've got joining us literally all around the world, from the UK to New Zealand and to Germany and even Sweden. So Nicole, let's start with you. So say hi and where you're at.
Hi, I'm in the UK. I'm in, a place called Lincolnshire, which is the middle of the middle. It's flat as anything. So they say anyway, but I did find a few hills on my trek today. And it's a lovely balmy 10 degrees, hence why I've got probably 3 more layers on than most other people. I'm not a cold person, and I am trying to embrace the lovely joys of the next season with an open mind and plenty of twinkly lights.
Lovely. And how about you, Linda?
Hi, I'm in Alicante on the Costa Blanca South in Spain, and it's a very pleasant, I have to say, still mid-20s in the evening here, so hence the pajama top t-shirt. Yeah. Very
And how
pleased
about you? Exactly. And how about you, Michaela?
Well, hello from Sweden. It's nighttime here and it's cold. So I'm in my pajamas and a robe. And yeah, catch a cold soon because it's very cold here.
And how about you, Emily?
Hi, I'm in Auckland, New Zealand, and it's first thing in the morning, and I will take my jersey off later, but the sun's still coming up.
So what's the temperature there? Do you know?
I think we'll hit about 22 degrees Celsius later today, but at the moment it's about 16 and a little bit showery, but it should clear. So we're in spring, so it's the beautiful blossoms and it's really lovely out.
Nice. And how about you, Maggie?
I'm in Spain. I'm in Valencia, and it is still pretty warm. I'm actually in a balcony, and I don't know how many degrees. I think it's around 22 as well. We're not far off each other, so yeah, really enjoying the last bit. Summer in the middle of October.
Exactly. And next, Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm in the UK. I'm actually not that far from Nicole because I'm in Derby. And yes, Lincoln is very flat, sweetheart, compared to Derbyshire, which is extremely hilly. But it is a very cool 9 degrees. I have had to admit and put the heating on today because it was that cold. So I've got lots of layers on. I do a lot of knitting. So this is one of my creations, Aran knitting. So yes, I've had to dig out my big, thick, woolly jumpers at the moment. So there you go.
Wow. And last we have Michelle.
Hi. Okay, so I'm in Berlin right now. I'm traveling on a book tour. I'm from the States, though. I'm from the United States. And I'm living in Texas right now, even though I'm not from there. So it's real similar to there, my home over there, like Valencia, but less humid. So, but I'm laughing because I'm still on Fahrenheit in my mind, and so I'm like, how much is it's 42 here. So it's like 42 Fahrenheit. So I think it's like 20, no.
Oh.
What is that in
I
Celsius?
don't know either,
Do we know?
but that sounds warm.
I'll have to look it up. No. It's less than. It's 10 then. No, it's chilly. It's chilly.
Okay, chilly. Okay.
Yeah. But I had a really good, I had to like bundle up a little bit on my bike tour today. So I took a bike tour. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, with Stephanie, I know how lovely she knits because I have a lovely sweater that she made, except it's way too warm to put it on.
6 degrees. Okay.
I knitted that for you. Yeah. I'll show you my latest creation. Sorry, Michelle.
That's good.
I'll show you my latest creation. You carry on, I'll find it.
No, I just looked it up. 6 degrees. It's 6 degrees right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Ooh, love the colors. Are those like
That's
peacock
cool.
feathers?
You make that?
Amazing.
You make them?
Yeah, peacock feathers.
That's a shirt. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Nice.
It's a knee-length jacket.
You're so talented.
I had a pattern for one feather, and I think there's 97 on there, 97, and I joined them all up and created a jacket. So I'm very happy.
Wow.
I get stopped in the street when I wear it.
A vest is in my future. So let's start with you, Stephanie, because is your knitting a hobby or is that your business?
Oh no, it's a hobby. I've just been saying to Maggie on the chat, I get withdrawal symptoms almost if I don't do knitting or crochet in an evening. But my actual job, what I actually do is I'm a full-time coach, and I help people get their businesses online by either showing them how to build their funnels or to actually do their funnels for them. And that's how I help people get online. That's what I get up to.
So today we're going to try to go over how each of you started your businesses, because you're all entrepreneurs. So it would be really interesting, like what made you become a coach and how did you start?
I worked in corporate land and I was there for 17 years, manager, extremely stressful, burnt myself out, thought can't be doing with this. So I took myself off to be a consultant, thoroughly enjoyed that. I got a placement for 6 months, and 2.5 years later, they said, actually, we're going to end the contract. I thought, that's fine, no problem. I've got lots more things I can do. I'm going to go online because I'm fed up with traveling. So I'm like Blackpool Rock. If you cut me in half, it reads business all the way through. So I thought, right, so I'm going to put myself online, and I learned how to do it, and I launched myself, and I earn a living at this, and now I help other people do the same, and I love it.
Great. So how many years have you been doing that for now?
7.5, 8 years, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So the lockdown isn't what propelled you to go online at all?
No, I was doing it before lockdown. So I didn't see any real change other than I didn't go out with my mates as much, but my actual job didn't change at all. I was really lucky, really lucky.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, Nicole, I love what she does, because unlike coaching, she does something very cool. Nicole, maybe you can share with the group what it is you do.
Yeah, so I'm a solution-focused clinical hypnotherapist. I eat, sleep, breathe hypnotherapy, if you like. I work one-to-one, and I also teach other people to become solution-focused clinical hypnotherapists. But my main area for me in business is working with children with additional and neurodiverse and emotional needs. So any young person between the age of sort of like 6 and 18, really, that's struggling with the whole umbrella of what anxiety and stress brings to the table. But then alongside that, I also do work with some adults because I do need a little bit of sanity for myself. Aside from working with young people, as much as they bring me a ridiculous amount of joy. So I try and get a bit of balance in everything, and then choose to spend every other weekend teaching in Peterborough and Nottingham so that other people can access and benefit from what I consider quite a phenomenal modality that's probably under talked about in mainstream and should be spoken about a lot more. For many people it would benefit. Yeah, that's me.
So you used to work for someone doing this before you branched out on your own, or you kind of went to school and then decided to start? What did you do?
Okay,
how did you get started?
I've always had a vested interest in working with children, particularly children with additional and mental health needs. I went to university to do mental health nursing and burnt myself out after 2 years because it wasn't what I wanted to do. Ended up working in hospitality and burnt myself out doing that. And then had my children. And after having my children, I had a breakdown. I didn't want to use what we would probably say is mainstream medication to get myself well, because I knew that there was a lot going on. It wasn't just about pop a pill and fix it. It was about I was broken, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all of it. And at the time, my colleague and also best friend, who I used to work in hospitality, was like, I need a case study for hypnotherapy. Are you up for it? And I was like, I'll give anything a go. Like, you know, I'm game on. And I'd spent 6 weeks not leaving my house because I was absolutely petrified of leaving my house with my son. I didn't want to breastfeed in public and all the connotations that brings with it. And after 4 weeks, I was in a local shopping centre, not really giving a damn, to be fair, about what was going on. And then following that, had a wonderful hypnobirth with my second child. And 4 months after having her, I was on a hypnotherapy course, and probably realized that I'd spent most of my life being the most anxious person anyone could probably be, and self-diagnosed myself with anxiety on the course when I knew what it was, because I had no idea. I genuinely thought everybody was an overthinking, overachieving, over pushing, never enough, busy person, and it wasn't the case. I realized that I had been running on that for a long time. So now I teach other people from a perspective of compassion and understanding and empathy.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
Now, Linda, you've had a very, I'm going to say, colorful past.
In the nicest way.
Exactly. And more exciting than colorful.
Yeah. Now, my journey, very much like you, Nicole and Stephanie, I ended up coming to Spain with my now ex-husband, but we came to Spain basically because we too had burnt out. I was working in a highly stressful job with the British Foreign Office, working worldwide in embassies and high commissions. And my then husband was working as an oil and gas executive, working worldwide. We had 2 small children, and we decided that we had to get back to a better work-life balance and some sanity. So we took the plunge and moved to Spain. Never regretted that. And the journey from there has been a lot of different stepping stones for me that have led me to where I am now, which is as an emotion and body code practitioner, helping people understand the mind-body connection. Going back to the Foreign Office, how did I get to here at this point? I'd also trained as an English language teacher, so I opened up a little language studio after a couple of years. And then found, because there were so many expatriates coming into Spain in this area, I ended up teaching beginner Spanish and ended up coaching, doing retirement coaching and expat life coaching for those people locally. I taught self-development for children and teenagers, mainly in English, not just to expatriate children, but to local Spanish children as well who wanted to speak English. I did remedial English at the language studio for children in Spanish school. I retrained in health and fitness as a fitness instructor assistant for a while. And then from there, I moved into, having done quite a bit of coaching, I moved into formal coaching qualification. And I was also, aside from the diplomacy and mixing with people, very interested always in the psychology of people and what made people tick. And a very good friend of mine had been a counsellor in the UK with an organisation called Relate, which is all about relationships. And she encouraged me to train as a counsellor, which I did, as she was my mentor. So I started doing counselling as a side hustle, if you will. And then I became involved in a psychic circle through a ladies' networking group here. I got very involved in energy healing and became a Reiki practitioner. And then during the pandemic, that gave us time to sit back and have some time at home. And I managed to publish my first book called Brains at the Border, which is all about the psychological and emotional impact of living all over the world with children as a single person and so on. And in the meantime, I'd also become the president of a mental health charity, Samaritans in Spain, and done 7 years of work with them. But once I stumbled across the body and emotion code technique, then I thought I found something that is worth pursuing for me, and something that I think is the future in alternative treatments and techniques. And that's why, with the effect of the pandemic as well, people moving away, people moving to more work online, I decided that the time was right for me to try and transition from working with people locally to getting more international audience and client base. And that's why I've been working with Celine for the last few years as well. And she's been very good as a mentor and helped with me in getting me online and in the digital world. So I'm very grateful for that. So that's how I got here. Yeah.
Right. So you've worn many, many hats.
Yeah.
And how about you, Maggie?
Wow, I'm blown away so far. My gosh. Well, I had a interesting story as well, I suppose. I left Poland when I was 19. I spent 4 years in Jersey and 14 or nearly 15 in Wales. And in Spain since last year, since January. I don't speak Spanish yet, just starting to communicate. My story, my entrepreneurship story started when I was graduating from architectural studies. And when I realized, oh crap, I don't want to do it. And I reached that book. I was with the architectural background and wanting to get into properties. I started in network marketing, which a lot of people do. Started with nutrition supplements, Herbalife. Then I follow up with another 4 or 6 different other ones, and plus property services business, from architectural services to property photography. Got burnt out, experienced anxiety, a panic attack, which I also, I guess, self-diagnosed myself, which I didn't even know that was the case, but I guess it is that. And I realized, because I was starting to dig like what's happening with me, because I literally thought I had a heart attack. I took 2 months off from that business, and I said, I really don't want to go back to it. I burnt out, and I said, this is not a business for me. I started online from scratch, learning affiliate marketing, promoting other people's businesses, while still needing a job. And I was in architectural jobs, and I also was burning out in there, and I also was burning out all the bridges, because it was not a job for me, and I ran out of options, and I had to change my career in 2018. I changed to be a kitchen designer for nearly a year. After a couple of weeks, as much as I enjoyed the job, my manager was a bully, and my mental health started to suffer. I changed it off for another kitchen designer job / sales. And I think my ex-boss, without being nasty or rude, has been a psychopath, because all I had for 3 months was criticism and bombarding me, never being paid on time. So I started questioning my own worth. I think I was on the edge of depression, which is also my self-experience or reading about it and being aware. And also my partner was telling me, and I literally went on a sick leave, never came back, went back to university, did masters in digital marketing. I looked into, while doing the affiliate marketing, which I fell in love with because it's a very creative process. And I started to discover, like, I love coaching because I love helping people with the digital stuff and helping them to set up the tools, etc., similar to Stephanie with sales funnel, email marketing, etc. But having my personal journey with the mental health, I started to discover I love working with holistic coaches. So anything that is opposite to traditional medicine. I'm not saying that it is bad. I think it works hand in hand, and there is a place for both. But sometimes the traditional medicine doesn't have answers for everything, or it's too much of a waiting time. So I started to do meditation, hypnotherapy, not as learning how to do it, but basically applying it to myself. And I started to connect with holistic coaches. I fell in love with it because they were mission driven, not money driven, heart centered. And that's how I kind of connected both. And when I started my studies, pandemic happened. And we all know how this could be difficult when you study suddenly from offline to online, and you stop having classes and you have to work everything out yourself. But that has kicked me off in my freelance journey, coaching business. A year after, I actually got my first job in marketing agency, which just confirmed that, like, I really want to educate my clients so they can make the best decision for their budget. 4 months, I quit the job after 6 or 7 months, 4 months after I was in Spain, and I basically work for myself now. And I actually help holistic coaches to be visible online. And I really want to raise awareness about holistic health approach, using social media as an online stage, and going against the mass media brainwash, and basically raise awareness of the holistic health, and helping holistic health coaches basically to serve more people and to help save more people.
Great.
That's it.
Okay. And now for Emily.
So hi, I'm actually Australian, and I'm married to a New Zealander. And just after we got married, he got transferred to Hong Kong. So I had quite a lovely career in human resources, which I was able to continue in Hong Kong. But then we moved to India, and it became more and more challenging to work. So India was difficult because of the legal framework. We got moved then to Chongqing in China, which is way out west, middle of nowhere, biggest city in the world. You've never heard of it. And language and legal barriers, again, I couldn't work. So I invested all my time in volunteering with NGOs, running network organizations for expats. I did some coaching, retraining, running the parent organization at the school, because I had my daughters in India. So by the time we got to China, they were school age. I invested all my time in helping others and volunteering and giving back, which is incredibly rewarding until it's not fulfilling for me anymore. And we got to Taiwan, and I still couldn't work, despite the fact everyone speaks English, because I couldn't read the legislation in Chinese. And so I decided at that point just to pause, and I was asked to join the school board and to do different things. I'm like, no, I just took a moment and said no, and I need to take time for myself. And I started a course called Business Idea Accelerator. I was like, okay, I'm going to start a business. So Amel Deregi, Tandem Nomads, I did her course, Business Idea Accelerator. And everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to start a business. Doing what? I've got no idea. That's the point. And so I just explored me, my strengths, what sits for me, what my passions are, and what does that look like? And it had to be a portable business. My husband's in hotels. We get moved frequently without notice. And so it has to be a portable business for me. It has to be online. And it was at the school gate, one pickup, and my dear Dutch friend Ellen looked at me. She said, you know what? I'd pay you just to talk to me. I was like, okay, there's something here. So we went out for lunch, a couple of glasses of wine later, and some ideas were starting to bubble away. And so I finished the course with a prototype launch of a support system for women moving. So I had WhatsApp support, and we had weekly touch points, and I share resources, and it was incredibly rewarding. It connected people. It was amazing. I called it Expat Parenting Abroad. It was awesome. And then we got moved to New Zealand, and the pandemic hit, and people then started leaning into me to give them direction when they wanted to start their own business, when they wanted to change careers, if they wanted to return to work because financially they had to do something different. My work became different. And so I'm a transition and leadership coach. I now brand myself, where I help you transition in life. And most of my clients are women midlife. They've either been stay-at-home mums wanting to return to work, they've got to the top of their career, and they've gone, now what? You know, I've worked hard to get here. What else is there? There must be more. Or, as so many people have already shared, they've decided, actually, this isn't for me. I need to start my own business. I want the freedom and the flexibility that a business would give. And so I do a lot of that work. My signature package is literally strengths, passions, bringing it together in terms of a purpose. And then what does that look like to serve yourself and others? And so my journey has sort of been around what everyone else has shared as well, where, you know, circumstance dictates what you need to shift into and lean into. But it's been really interesting. Mine's been sort of a actual pause, deliberate step to say, no, I've got to do something different. So that was my story.
Wow. How many countries did you live in then? I lost count after, I think you
I think
said
it's been
Taiwan.
seven different countries. So I lived and worked, I think, in 7 different countries. Yeah.
And your children were born in different countries also?
They were born both in India. My eldest, Jessica, was born in Mumbai, and my youngest, Samantha, was born in Delhi. So we did Auckland to Hong Kong to Mumbai. Christchurch earthquake happened, and my in-laws lost their home. So we came back and helped them. And then we went back up to Delhi, and then Chongqing, which is China, and then Taiwan, Taipei. And we're in Auckland now. And as I said, we arrived just at the end of 2019, and we haven't moved yet, and I'm loving it being in one place. It's so exciting.
So you know how to pack, I'm going to guess.
Purging is my specialty.
Okay. So now how about you, Michaela?
Yes. In the late 90s, I worked as a manager for a startup company in Stockholm, and it was in the financial area. So I worked really hard and set up everything in the company. And I was on the edge of burning out. And I got back from my vacation, and everything just fell apart. There was no structure left in the company. You know, you have to have new deals with customers, and well, I don't know what the staff had done during my weeks of vacation. So I went on lunch and I thought, I have to figure this out. Do I want to burn out? Probably, and stay in the company, or should I just leave everything, move into unemployment or whatever? But if I'm going to do all of this, setting up things, then I can own it myself. I can start my own company. And that was a realization. I didn't know anyone who had their own company. I didn't know anything about the world of entrepreneurship. But yeah, during that lunch, walking the streets in Stockholm, I decided that, well, I'm going to start my own company. I can't do this anymore. So I left that day, and I didn't really know what to do. I knew that it couldn't be in Stockholm, and it couldn't be in that financial area. I wanted to do something totally different. So I moved to another smaller town in Sweden, and I started having courses in personal development, because I love leadership, and yeah. So from there, just as Linda said, it has been stepping stone, because after a while I got customers that well, in Sweden we have sort of the unemployment agency. They hire private companies to take care of the unemployed people, to help them with CVs. And yeah, so I was a consultant for such a firm, and I felt for a while that they're draining me, you know. There's no positivity, because they need enthusiasm, and they need so much. So I was just starting to doubt that was this the right thing? So then a friend told me that, well, you like education and development. Maybe you should take a job in a school. A school? That was nothing that I had thought of at all. But it turned out to be a job opening as an assistant principal, taking care of the economy and the external contacts, and something that was not on my map. But I did it for a while, and then I got pregnant, and you know, I didn't want to commute, and didn't have that nice boss either. But anyway, I got back to the entrepreneurship, and it sort of fell into places, the stepping stones, and then it became a road forward towards coaching and helping people, helping unemployed people to find what they want to do. Was it another profession? Was it education? Was it another job? Or as it is now, more like helping people transition from employment to starting something new for themselves. And now I work international too, so that's fun. Yeah.
Great. And now we have Michelle, the Texan girl.
No, don't call me Texan girl.
Because you're sorry, because you're not really from Texas.
I'm playing with you. No, yeah, I'm not from Texas. And being a Texan is like a breed of a person. And
Oh,
yeah, it's
I
real
didn't know
different.
that. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
Canadian, so
Yeah,
sorry.
it's real different. No, yeah. Well, I'm from the Midwest, which is kind of the nickname of the Canadians of the US because we're polite and friendly like you
Okay.
are. I'm originally from Chicago. Well, first I want to say, wow, I'm just honored to be in this circle of amazing, powerful goddesses. I mean, all your stories are incredible. You're powerful, really intelligent women that love to help people. It's beautiful. So thank you. I really love listening. I could have a great conversation with each of you, and I had a lot in common with a lot of you. So I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years. I have a varied background, like a lot of you. Fitness instructor, a waitress, and then I moved from Chicago to small town Texas, which was quite a culture shock. And I ended up getting a job through the library as a project manager, teaching people to learn how to do email in the internet, because this was 1999.
Oh.
And the Office, Microsoft Office just got invented. Okay. And I did that for a little while. And it became stressful in the situation, a lot of small town drama. And that's when I decided to start my own business from what I learned. And when I was at that job, I decided, no one gave me the task, but I decided that Office came out, people needed to know this. Like, so this is when there was no YouTube or Facebook or anything, okay? And I used to go to the store and buy the little CDs to learn how to do Excel and Publisher and that kind of thing, and then like learn how to do it on the computer and then practice it. And so then I created curriculum, and I did this for 5.5 years. And then I taught myself. So basically I was teaching myself, and then I would teach other people. And then I taught myself digital photography, because it was all brand new. Digital cameras were just coming out. And then how to build websites and photo editing, all this kind of stuff. So I decided to start my own business. I never did it before either. And I had no mentor or anything. And I just hit it at the right time. I started the business in 2004 and, did well with it. And it still exists today. Back then I wore all the hats. Now I do marketing and networking around it. And I have a team that's been working for me for years that takes care of it all. And we do a lot, because of things have changed, trends have changed so much. We do a lot more search engine optimization now than we do website services. So that's been going on for 20 years. And then I had some major changes in my life. Like a lot of you guys were saying, you overworked, burnt yourself out, da, 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 da. Again, same thing. I had anxiety, challenged with anxiety all my life, had no idea what it was because nobody talked about it then. And I thought, just like all you guys, just keep going, and everybody, makes, on the outside look calm and happy, And I realized that when I realized I had anxiety, and this was about 12 years ago, I realized I was using exercise to alleviate that. Okay. And to get that energy out that helped me calm down. I used to joke and say I was like a toddler. I had to run around to be calm. And then I understood it was exactly that. And so then I had back surgery because I broke myself. I just beat myself up for so long. I was eating good and exercising. I thought I was really doing good, but I had no balance, and I just go all the time. And during this time, I actually have 12 years of experience with helping people with addictions and trauma healing, because I was involved with 12-step programs in the US. They're super, super popular over there for every addiction you can imagine. And I grew a lot, and I helped hundreds of women. And I had a lot of practice mentoring like that. But I didn't heal in a very, very deep way until I started meditating. And that didn't come until after I had back surgery in 2014. And when that happened, I realized after the back surgery, my neck and my low back were vulnerable. And instead of just feeling a little discomfort when I was a little upset or stressed, how we all do, maybe the neck and the back or the stomach, I felt a lot of pain. And I realized that I really had to get a handle on learning how to handle my thoughts and my emotions better, because this was my life now. And so that's what led me into meditation for physical pain management. Mm-hmm. And that really led me into yoga, because all of a sudden I was like fitness queen for decades, and then I couldn't hardly do anything. And so yoga was a great way that I could learn how to move slowly and stay fit. And then I got more into swimming and, walking and biking and that. And so that really, getting into yoga, I was going inward for the very first time in my life. So it just transformed my life on every level. And it opened the doors for all kinds of stuff like hypnotherapy and mindfulness exercises and healing from trauma, forgiveness, cultivating self-love, breath work, plant medicine therapy, grounding. I do all of the stuff, learned all kinds of stuff to help myself. I did not want to go down the road of prescription medication because I knew there were a lot of side effects on that. And then I'm so glad I chose that route. No judgment on anybody that does it, because now that we know more, and we're going to see more and more as years go by about how detrimental that is to the person that's taking them when they're taking them for years and years. And so they're just, starting to talk about this. And so, so I'm really glad I stay away from that. And I had some really big stuff happen to me in 2017 when I finally decided to separate from my then husband of 27 years. I loved him very much. We were living in Key West at the time. We moved from Texas to Key West when the kids got older. And I loved him very much. That was actually one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make, because I did love him, because I was really afraid to be alone in the world because of my old stuff with my childhood. And even though I felt alone in my relationship a lot of times because we were growing in different directions, I didn't feel alone in the world. And so when I left him, that was a big, big step for me. And I decided to go to Spain because I wanted to get better at Spanish, because I've been trying to learn it for quite a while. And I put myself in a world that I couldn't have been more alone. And my whole life changed so much. I walked away from everything, and it was like I was living in a movie. It was like somebody else's life. It was so, and I couldn't, my level of Spanish was very low, so I couldn't express myself or understand a lot. So I felt really isolated, and I didn't realize how much fear and depression I was in, but it was quite a bit. And I didn't realize also until after I came back to the States, after living in Spain for 3.5 years during the quarantine and everything, I learned that the combination of feeling alone, and then the combination of, with another combination of getting involved with the man, was the same dynamic as my father, with withholding his emotion because he was emotionally unavailable, and withholding attention and appreciation and stuff like that, And I had inklings. I go, oh, this is like my dad and all that, but I had no idea how profound it was. And after I got home and did more and more healing, deep healing, I said, wow, I actually was reliving my childhood trauma out in Spain. And so when I was in Spain, I went, when we got quarantined, I was lucky enough to already have really good tools in my pocket with meditation and mindfulness and breath work and knowledge around science around all of it. And I had already been introduced to a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza, studied under him, went to his conference, and Bruce Lipton, a lot of different people I was studying. And so I decided, when we were locked down, I had no balcony, no yard, couldn't leave the house, like some of us, for 7 weeks, and could go to the grocery store and back, and that was it. I decided to put myself in a bubble and micromanage all my input. And I literally, except for talking to my students, because I was actually teaching English, conversation online, I decided to just only learn things about neuroscience and neuroplasticity and hypnotherapy and all this stuff, trauma healing, spiritual, guides, meditation, mindfulness. I didn't watch any series. I didn't watch any movies. I watched an occasional documentary that was just teaching, and did a ton of meditation and healing, a lot of trauma healing. And I also am a big fan of plant medicine therapy. I had used psilocybin mushrooms to basically amplify what I was already working on. There's a lot of news out there about this, and you'll see things change quite a bit in the next few years as far as things getting legal for therapy for using these substances in a safe, controlled setting. And so I had an amazing shift. And I told my friends when I came out that I felt like I was in a cocoon, and that I'd come out of a cocoon. And during that experience, I had a very, very profound connection with my mother, who had passed 3 decades ago. I never connected with her ever, and I never had any experience connecting with spirits in my life, even though I believed in it. It just never happened to me. I believe now because I was blocked. And I had a very, very strong experience with her. It was just a big love fest of I love you, forgiveness, and all this kind of stuff. And during that moment, I got the message, I believe it was from her, to write this book that I wrote recently. And it was a very powerful book of basically what happened to me and then everything I learned in that. And basically throughout the book, I talk about all these types of things: how to control your thoughts, how to reprogram your brain, how to feel the feeling without becoming it, how to deal with anxiety, depression. I talk all about different applications and practices. And I talk about what we're dealing in the world, when the modern Western world, the impact that our relationship to technology has on us. This is beautiful that we can connect, but we all know if we don't watch our behavior around it, it can be very damaging mentally and physically and emotionally. And then talking about basically, having traumatizing messaging in our lives growing up in our different cultures, and that is trauma. And so I share a lot of references to documentaries and books and TED Talks of many, many experts, and I'm sure some of you guys know, that I've studied under doing that. So this book just got published in May. And right now it's available on Kindle paperback and hard copy in English. I'll have the Audible version available next May, 2024. And the Spanish will be available in Kindle and paperback in January. And right now I'm on a book tour, and I'm just visiting different countries. And I'm also doing sessions of breathwork and sound healing sessions, which I'm also a big, big fan of for trauma healing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it sounds like all of you have something a lot of things in common, aside from some sort of stress-related thing that propelled you to become an entrepreneur, right? So let's start with the nitty-gritty, which is money, like finances. How many of you actually had some sort of savings to fall back on before you started your own business? Or did you think you could just start it willy-nilly? Like I know in Maggie's case, having been involved in network marketing, one of the things is you're always told you can start for free. Like there's no sign up. But then there's the however, you really need to have product in order to succeed. Without product, you can't. So, and that becomes a cycle and can become very expensive. So in your heads, especially those of you that help people become entrepreneurs, do you have a round figure that you actually share with people of what it costs to start up a business? Have you even thought of that? Like in Nicole, what did you have to do aside from going to school? How did you start? You have to rent a space for your office?
Yeah. So I've got to say I had no plan. I still have no plan. People might look at me and go, "You have no plan?"
You look like you have a plan.
Yeah, no, I had no plan. I think that has a plan. I'm a great believer of the bigger plan.
Yes.
But yeah, I did a case study for a lady who hadn't slept for about 9.5 months and was traveling up and down the A1M every day to care for her ailing mother. Going to work, she'd had about 2 or 3 hours kip a night with a dog. And she replied to my little Facebook group and said, "Can you come and see me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, if you happen to be a case study." So I went to see her, and after about 6 weeks, she was asleep. And she quit a job. She stopped traveling up and down the A1. She moved to go and live with her mum. Saw her to the end of her days, bless her, and then moved back here to care for her daughter and grandchildren. And on our last session, she gave me a bunch of flowers and a card, and inside the card was 50 quid. And the note said, "If you don't do this, I'll haunt you." And so I was like, okay. So I went and bought some business cards, and I absolutely crapped myself and went and booked myself in a networking session. And I had a panic attack in the car because I was like, I don't want to do this. And my friend who had taught me went, "If you get out of the car, I'm going to come and haunt you as well." So I was like, okay, well, guess this is going to happen. And so I literally had that £50. And I was working 30 hours a week. I was a mum, 2 kids under 5, one of who was breastfed through my entire course because my husband would bring her on the weekend to the course so I could feed her and then take her back again.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then when I started having testimonials, I was like, yeah, this kind of works, right? And then I put myself in a hole because I was so scared of leaving my job because that I was the breadwinner. So leaving my job meant I would have to kind of like hope that it would work, I guess. And I woke up one day, I was going in for a meeting with HR. I had to ring in every Friday at 9 o'clock to tell them how my mental health was. And I rang this first morning as a signed agreement, and my boss didn't answer the phone. So she called me back and she said, "I was outside." I said, "I know where you were. You were outside having a cigarette." I said, "And you have as much respect for me as I have for you. And so this is my notice."
Wow.
And that was it. So I handed in my notice and I started, and I absolutely worked my backside off.
And that's how you won your awards.
That's it. Yeah. My first year, I won New Small Business Award in my first year of work.
Mhm.
And then I won an award this year as a finalist for a complementary practitioner in Lincolnshire, and I've just won hypnotherapist of the Midlands as well this last week.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
But going back to the money side, did you have to get a loan? Did you borrow money? What did you do?
No, my dad came round and said, "You know what, love? I think you found your calling," and he gave me £500. And that bought me a laptop and a printer. And it was just an awful lot of faith and an awful lot of graft, but fortunately it's all paid off, and I probably should be more grateful for it. Actually, I don't acknowledge the work I put into my work, as many of us probably don't. You can't balance time and money.
No.
That's the way I see it. I needed to be visible, I needed to be seen, and I needed to share with people how I felt about things. And that's what I do. I don't BS anything because, there's absolutely no point. This is what you see is what you get. And, as far as I'm concerned, I saw that lady this year actually, and gave her a massive hug, of which she gave me a hug back. So that still follow you, sometimes I just need your words of wisdom. And, that for me is almost like she gave me the door that allowed me to say, actually, someone believes in me that I don't know, so I need to kind of go down that route. So yeah.
So in your case, what you're saying is you needed kind of like validation.
I do, yeah.
Okay, but you knew what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, let me ask you, because you came from corporate, obviously you had a little bit of money or some money tucked away.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you end up starting your own business?
It cost me £25. And I had the attitude that I would not pay for something I couldn't afford that had come out of my business. So therefore, I was self-fulfilling. And like Maggie, you can start your entire entrepreneurial business with free systems without paying anything out. And it is doable. It's hard if you do it that way, if you're trying to teach yourself, which is what I did. And fortunately, I've been very successful, and I taught myself it, which is why I decided that I would support other entrepreneurs to not go through what I went through. And so it was a case of, right, okay, so you can do this for free, but you're going to have to pay me to be able to do it. So I do it really, really low price, and I fill them with love and give them every opportunity for networking, for promoting, for creating, for sharing. And that's how I help them get started. And I'm really, really fortunate they stay with me, and they stay with me for time and time again, different courses, and it's just wonderful because I help them take that first step.
Now, when you said it cost you £25,
Mm-hmm.
that's not really the cost of starting a business, though, because you have to factor in things like your equipment, like your laptop, a printer if you need it.
But I'd already got those. I have those because I wanted a laptop. I'd had it for years. I've since been able to go and buy a new one, but I've had it for years. So it wasn't an expense I had to invest in because I'd already got it. The printer I'd already got. You know, the times my daughters have said, "Mum, can you print this out for me?" Because I was the one with the printer. £25 was for business cards, which I've never used, and a poster to go on the wall behind me so that it looked smart. That was it.
Okay.
I didn't really need either of those. You can do it with no investment, and you can earn from it without the investment. I would like to suggest, with the greatest love in the world, that it is but I can't do it until I've got this, and I can't do it until I've got that. And it's down to you stopping yourself, you using it as an excuse to not do. And I was one of those people where I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it work and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to make it happen. And we learn, and I've seen so many nodding heads, particularly with Nicole. There's so much you learn by taking those first steps, but you've got to take those first steps to learn.
Because I'm thinking of the case of, you know, some people who want to become entrepreneurs because of maybe they have a bad boss, or they need to get out of a relationship, so they need to earn money. Where if they try to do the DIY, you know, like the do-it-yourself method, like you were saying, where you have to learn all these systems and so on.
It takes time.
It takes time, and you end up not focusing on what you are supposed to be doing, which is finding clients, right?
Yes, but finding clients only works when you've got something to offer them, and you've got to know what you want to offer them to be able to find the clients, because then you can talk with confidence as to what it is that you're going to sell them. But there is that balance. Yes, there totally is. And you know, there's always 100%, there's always the scales, and you've either got more time, less money, or you've got more money and less time. And it's finding that balance. And it is
Sorry, can I add to what you're saying, Stephanie, as well? Sorry, I'm interrupting, which we said we weren't going to do.
No,
but just to help add to that, I didn't invest any money up front when I started. As I said, it was a WhatsApp group that I was providing support with, charging people to be a part of it. I had a free website. You know, I did everything on the fly and learning it for myself.
Yes.
However, when I made the decision to grow my business and invested in working with a coach, my revenue in the first 6 months went up 86%. So yes, you can do it, but there's ways to make it a much more successful business. And if you're wanting to do
agree. Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And there comes that time where you have some income that you can then invest to give you that next leap. And I totally agree with you. And I'm also picking up on Celine's point that if you're starting off and you've not got an investment, then you're not going to run fast enough. And I totally get that as well. And this is what the balance is between, you know, are you going to do it yourself, or are you actually going to do the investment? Everything has to come in a balance. Whatever you do, it's a balance. And you've just got to make a decision and go with it. But if you start thinking, oh, I'll do that. Oh no, I'll do that. Oh no, I'll do that. You definitely won't get anywhere. You've got to have a plan. You know my thing, Celine. Have a focus, create a plan, take courage, take action, and deliver it. If you've got that, you won't go far wrong.
Exactly. Because what I'm finding is a lot of people want to start businesses, but don't actually have a concrete business plan.
Yeah.
So even if they've taken a course, like let's say the case of Linda, where she did this emotion and body code practitioner course. Then what happens afterwards? Did they actually offer you some sort of business support, like how to find your clients or what you have to
Yeah,
do next?
yeah, there was a little bit of free support because it's coming out of the States. The sort of training and help that, for example, you give and other people give here, I mean, it was horrendously expensive compared to what we pay for in Spain, the sort of cost levels that we're used to here. Going back right to the beginning, when my now ex-husband and I first moved to Spain, and again, I think going back to what Nicole said, I'm jumping around here, but I do feel that I've always been guided somehow, and all these things are kind of strange, but they do link together. We arrived on 333, which isn't a very auspicious number, but it was a fluke that we came here in the first place. We were actually thinking of bailing out of our careers where we were in Mexico City and staying in Mexico. And by chance, we were at a St. Andrew's ball, I think at the Sheraton in Mexico City. And I said, I rarely win any prizes. And I won the first prize in the raffle, which were club class tickets anywhere to Europe on Play&M. And we said, well, we've never really discounted Spain. Why don't we go and take a look? We'd been to Portugal. So we came, we found a place. We got back to Mexico. I found that I could leave a few months early, and hey presto, here we are. But having said that, we were both earning good salaries, and we had a year's salary banked as an emergency fund when we came. So it wasn't as though we were getting on a flight with $50 in our pocket and expecting to, you know, start a new life. So that was then. And of course, over the years on my stepping stone journeys, things have been bought and sold. And yes, like you, Stephanie, as I came to the point now where I'm trying to promote what I'm doing, I had to a large extent equipment and a place to work from and so on. But for me, the challenge has been moving from my programming as being very much a people person and working with people in the flesh, and having a declining client base locally and having to move into the digital world and going online. So that's been my particular challenge, as Celine knows, because she's been helping me. And again, it's all a balance because my current partner has got other businesses in UK and he's not been well, so I've been helping. And all the time you're trying to do these things, sometimes life just throws you a curveball. So it's taken much, much longer than I anticipated this time last year. But then I didn't know what was just around the corner. So you just have to go with the flow. But for whatever reason, we're being sent that way. And I'm pretty sure that I'm doing the right thing. But yeah, sometimes you just have to roll with it.
So in terms of all the challenges you have all faced, because it seems to be another common thread, would you say that that is what propelled you to become an entrepreneur, as opposed to finding another job, for example?
I
Like
just
working
didn't
for
want to get
someone
burnt
else.
out again. Yeah, I just didn't want to get burnt out again.
Okay, so in your case, you knew you'd get burnt out if you were working for somebody else.
Yeah, yeah.
How about you, Emily?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, when you look back and you think, well, I've gone through all these things and hey, I'm still here, so why not? Let's give it a go. If I'm guided to do this, let's go ahead and see where it takes me. And I was very lucky. I never really had to worry. When I was doing my training, I had lots of volunteers come forward as case studies and so on. And whenever I think, oh, I'm not getting clients, even with my slow uptake on social media marketing and so on, whenever things seem to be drying up, next minute they come emailing me for sessions. So obviously doing something right, and someone is helping somewhere. So
someone up there.
Someone up there.
Now, I was going to add to what you were saying, Celine. You know, I was unique. I couldn't work. My career was taken away from me because of our location. But life is a challenge. It will always be, whether you're living as an expat or not, life will always have challenges. And it's about, you know, not putting off. You know, so many people we talk to, I think everyone's sort of nodding in the background when we're all sharing our stories. There's so many people we talk to and work with. They wait until the perfect time. They wait for things to be, all the ducks to be lined up. Until I've got it right, I can't do it. life will always have ups and downs. It's never going to be perfect. And if you don't start, you'll never move forward. You've just got to take that one step and get going. And for me, it was, I can't keep volunteering. I've got to do something that's more fulfilling for me. And the propel behind me is seeing the impact I'm having on my clients and literally changing their lives is feeding my soul. And so it keeps me going through the challenges that continue no matter what stage of life we're at.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it seems that all of you have gone through some sort of mental health difficulty, like depression, the stress, the anxiety.
Burnout.
Yeah. So what made you think to not take or pop that pill that a doctor would give you? What made you decide to go the alternate health route?
Because of the effects, the side effects that come with those kinds of that route. I heard a lot of my friends and family, had been taking prescription pills, and it wasn't working for a lot of them, and they were constantly changing their doses and the type of prescriptions or whatever, and then a lot of different side effects that sometimes can be worse than your actual symptom.
Okay, so you knew people firsthand that had the bad effects.
A
And
lot.
how about you, Maggie?
I think with me it's a little bit different. Like to maybe summarize all the other questions that you had in terms of the cost, I do actually have costs in mind, starting costs. I did start it with network marketing, which theoretically didn't meant to cost anything, but then you want to grow your business, so you brand yourself and you invest in that. Some network marketing companies do require you to order monthly in order to be the product of the product, which I meant. Which I don't like those kind of network marketing companies. Anyway, I started also from zero, but I did have a job to rely on. I didn't have savings but I think everyone is different because of the life circumstances. I didn't have kids. I was on my own back then, so I didn't really have to I need to take care of my partner or my kids. And I was sharing a house with one or two friends, so there was always something to lay on, if that makes sense. And in terms of the burnout, and it pushed me because after being fired every 3 to 6 months, and I started to burn all the bridges. It was either changing career, which is super hard, which I'm not sure what's harder, changing career to be employed in something else, or realizing that you are unemployable because you really don't like sticking to rules and schedules, which for me is the case because I really don't like schedules, and I really don't like waking up in the morning. I literally wake up like 10, 11, 12, and I don't mind staying up working late until 6 a.m., but I hate getting up in the morning. And I think that was a big factor. In terms of the medication, I was not even aware of what could happen. Like I went on a sick leave from that kitchen designer job, and I had to go because I had to go through the formal procedure of backing up my sick leave, basically for the employer, to kind of gain some time in order to start my university and get my living cost grant. And that was the only way. And I was kind of forced, but in a way, I think it was a good thing because they actually offered me, instead of medication or psychologist or psychiatrist or counseling, actually that counseling was useless for me, to be honest. I went on a stress control, which was actually confirming what I learned through personal development. So because of the personal development, I already learned there are other ways. So like Michelle, I didn't know anyone who was taking medication, so I didn't know the side effects. Actually, no, sorry, I had one experience with it. When I was like 20, 21, and I had a hard breakup, I actually went to a psychologist and with my mother, and I came back from UK. I was on holidays in Poland, and the doctor prescribed me some medication. Jesus, this was like a roller coaster. Like, I think I took 1 or 2 pills and I felt like I was in another world. And I was like, my God, and I was in work and I didn't know what's happening to me. I said, I will never, ever take anything like that again. Because I don't know, for me, it was like they saying the drugs are illegal. But it's like, how this can be legal? So anyway, like I was not aware at all about it, and I just felt like this didn't feel right. There must be another way. And through a couple years later, as I said, like in 2013, when I discovered personal development, that's when I started to dig into holistic coaching and personal development and working on the mindset. But yeah, in terms of the figure, sorry. So Stephanie mentioned, like, yes, you can start from scratch with zero. There are free tools. But like what I always explain, like, yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it on your own. It may take longer. It may be harder. It's possible. Obviously, there's many people who did it, but it is easier either with a coach, which you need to invest in, or at least invest in small, low-cost tools, basics like sales funnel, email marketing, Calendly, or something similar to that. Possibly you can use the Google Meet instead of the Zoom, but we already know how this works, especially with the bigger groups. So I would say the minimum starting cost, it's definitely always having a job when you start, unless you have a financial cushion to fall into. So I would say at least 100, 150, because you always have to pay for some events to go to, or a meeting, or like I was investing a lot in personal development events. So I would say the minimum it would be like £120, $150 minimum monthly business expenses. I think that's not a lot in an online business. Obviously, it would be different if someone wants to start a physical business, e-commerce business, whereas there's physical product. And when you need to employ people, everyone is different. And obviously, depending on the circumstance, whether someone has a family and they cannot take risks, that's a different story. Then I would probably wouldn't be so wild with like jump and find the wings later. No, I probably would actually save up maybe a little bit and be more wiser.
Yeah, because for me, those are very low figures. I always tell my clients that they need a cushion of $5,000 or euros, whatever their currency is, so that they can build a website properly. They don't have to stress if their computer breaks down. They can pay for a phone. They can pay for stuff. If you don't have that money, you're going to be stressed trying to pay for stuff, right? And then you're back to that stress cycle that you just were trying to get out of.
Yeah, because one of the things we haven't touched on yet, when you're moving from being an employee to being your own boss, as an entrepreneur, I worked for many years in a big organization where I was running a team of people, and there were big support networks with administration, HR, welfare department, so on and so forth. And then you suddenly land on your own and think, right, okay, so who does that then? Oh, it's me. Who does that? Oh, it's me. Who does that? Oh, it's me. So yeah, it's that's another thing that people find difficult. And of course, the other thing is that when you work for an organization, you are well looked after. You probably have vacation time, bank holidays, you have sick pay, maybe a welfare department. But when you're working for yourself, if you're sick and you don't work, you don't earn. So that's another thing that people have to factor in.
And this is why what Stephanie teaches is actually great, where you can actually create courses online so that it's kind of like building a residual income, right?
Yeah.
And that would be one of the best ways to think about it.
But Celine, I have to say something here.
Sure.
It's a little bit negative, our stories. For the people listening to this. So I would say that, okay, maybe some of us found the solution in entrepreneurship from where we were, but it's one thing to run away from something, but to go towards something. So I think all of us found something that was important for us in being an entrepreneur. For me, it was, I did everything, but I didn't own it. I couldn't make the decisions. I wanted freedom to develop myself and my company. And it's important to know that we also see the positive side, because it's very, well, our stories are.
No, then
Okay.
this is really why I wanted to talk about this, is because people think becoming an entrepreneur is all great and it's rosy, but the negative stuff, like the stuff that happens before we become successful, is not talked about. Like even with Nicole, she's always looking so pretty and so great. And I think, oh, she just knew exactly what she was doing. And then now she says, no, not at all. Right.
Not a
And then I
chance.
know with Emily, I knew what she was doing when she was still doing her, what was it called? Expat.
Expat parenting abroad. Yeah.
Thank you. When she was doing expat parenting abroad is when we first met. And then now she transitioned to this, and even just listening to her today, she's so much more polished than 2 years ago. Right? What a difference coaching makes, really.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this
you
is
know what they say, it takes years to become an overnight success.
yes, absolutely. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about, the real stuff that was happening behind the closed doors. And any last minute words of wisdom from anybody?
Yeah.
I'd like to say something.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm
Each of
sorry,
you
did
have
I?
like
I'm
two-
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sorry, let's start with Nicole because she's at the top of my screen, and then we'll work our way down. So go ahead, Nicole. You've got like 2 minutes.
If you're gonna go on your own, have faith in yourself, always focus on every single achievement, no matter how small, even getting up out of bed on a day that you don't want to. But more importantly, find a network of human beings that are the same as you and will cheerlead and celebrate every living thing that you do. Every time you get lonely, you turn to them because they feel exactly the same and they all understand how you feel. And if you can't find them, go out and get them and build your own network of them, because that's the best thing I've done. Building a network of like-minded women in business with their own small businesses to support themselves and their mental health whilst they're being entrepreneurs has been the biggest achievement so far, and they don't pay for that. And I don't pay for it either. We all
Nice.
rock up together and support each other for that. That is so important.
So do you meet online or do you meet in person?
We meet in person. We're all relatively local, but we call it the Pineapple Network. And if there's not shenanigans had in the 2 hours that we meet together, it's been a bad network.
Nice. Okay, Linda, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly the same as Nicole. Believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. I love the phrase lifelong learning. We never stop learning. So never think you're too old, you haven't got enough education. You can do it. I mean, we've all proven that. We've all learned new skills as we've gone along. And yeah, network. And you need your support network, and steer away from negative people. There are always people who are going to try and stab you in the back or bring you down. But I love the phrase as well. Snuffing out my candle will not make yours shine any brighter. So don't let those negative people and jealous people get under your skin.
Yeah.
Stick with it.
Thanks, Linda.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
So I would say have a big why. Know why you're doing it and have it big enough that it motivates you to get out of bed because you desperately want to achieve it. It drives you. And then from there, just take action. Just take that next step. The first one is huge, but it gets so much easier once you've taken that first step. You've got this and we've got you.
Thanks, Stephanie. And how about you, Emily?
I guess I would leave it with nothing changes if nothing changes. If you don't actually shift yourself, if you don't actually take, as Stephanie said, action, if you don't take some sort of step forward, nothing's going to change for you. So if you know this is what you want, if it's going to feed your soul, if it's going to get you through all the challenges, then take that first step, whatever it is. For most people, it's getting the diary out and working out where they're going to allocate time to actually make this happen, and working out the steps and putting them in your diary. Do that now. Do that today and start moving yourself forward, because nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's a very good phrase. I like that a lot. I'm going to steal that actually. Michaela, how about you? Any other last words of wisdom?
Yes, I would say take the risk. Every experience is worth it. Even if you don't succeed, it's a win, because you can grow skills from it, and you can get an understanding why you didn't succeed, and you can use it going forward. So take the risk.
Great. And how about you, Michelle?
All great advice, ladies. Balance is so important when you're an entrepreneur. Like some people have already said, super important, or else you're going to run right into a burnout situation again, like you walked away from. Delegate whenever you can. As soon as you have starting to make enough money to delegate other people to do things, do it as soon as you can, so you can have that balance and have more freedom that you want. And focus on your talent of why you started it, not all these other things that you have to do now because you don't have an HR department and all that. And another thing that I've found very, very helpful in growing businesses I've had is collaboration. In collaborating with events, collaborating with other men or women. You know, I tend to go in the women direction, but I've done a lot with men in the past too. And just collaborating with events and stuff like that, and how you can do together, but also finding good business referral partners, other people that have the same demographic, the same clients you do, but you're providing a different service. Okay. And when you help get those kind of business referrals, you help each other grow your business. There's a really great networking organization you may know of. It's called BNI, Business Networking International. Very famous. I was involved in it for 8 years. And they used to call these power teams. So let's say you're a realtor, you want a mortgage guy, a plumber, a contractor. You want all these guys in your business referral. You know what I'm saying? If you're a caterer, you want a photographer, you want an event coordinator, you want a hairdresser. You know what I'm saying? So that really, really helps you, and you help each other, and you tell each other about each other all the time. And you pass each other clients.
That's a great tip as well. And now how about you, Maggie?
I agree with all the ladies, all valid. And what I can add to it is like everything happens for a reason and in the right time. And sometimes we earn, sometimes we learn. Definitely taking risks. I totally agree with Michelle in terms of networking and collaboration. And also, I think the biggest for me recently, especially, is trusting your gut feeling, because like sometimes we are, especially when you start, you're listening to everyone who you adore, who you treating as mentors and gurus, and it's like, oh, they're doing this, oh, they're doing that, and they saying this, I should do this, I should do that, you should get up at 5 a.m. Oh no, you should listen to your body. And you're listening to all of them and you're getting confused. And I think we also forget to listen to ourselves and our own bodies and our own gut feeling and our intuition. And alignment with yourself is a big thing for me, because sometimes it's like, I had a couple of meetings last week and they really drained my energy, and I kind of knew it before even the call, just when you review it. And I thought, like, I think listening to your gut feeling, and yeah, you will work out how to do things on the go, but I think listening to a gut feeling, when something doesn't feel right, it usually is not right for you. It doesn't mean that it's wrong, it just may not be right for you. So I think just feeling the alignment to be in the flow. And yes, sometimes things won't go right, obviously, but we always work it out how to get out from it. So, and we will learn. That's the either you learn or you earn. And I think intuition would be my big thing, and feeling the alignment.
Great. Well, thank you, ladies. You have covered a lot of ground here, and I know we're going to do more during our program that's coming up, which is building a business in 30 days and learning how to do it the smart way. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. So good night and good morning in the case of Emily. I can't believe you're already tomorrow. She's the future.
All right. Bye,
Thanks.
ladies.
Bye, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure.
All.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.